Also joins us from Washington. Tom Dupree is with us with his analysis. Tom's a former Deputy Assistant Attorney General, partner at Gibson, Dunn and Crutcher, and it's a, these are serious charges, as Evan outlined. Just give us some legal context, big picture. How much trouble might Hunter Biden be in?
Potentially very serious trouble. Look, if you were convicted on all these counts, 9 counts total, 6 of which are misdemeanors, 3 felonies, he's facing nearly 20 years in prison. I can't imagine he ever would get sentenced to something like that. But nonetheless, he does face the possibility of very significant criminal sanctions if he's convicted. And this indictment itself really is something else. It goes into a lot of detail. It basically is an accounting ledger of vice, showing all the money that Hunter Biden got in and how he spent all that money. And notably, it was not paying the IRS. Yep.
Evan talked about it, but the expenses listed in the indictment 2016 to 2019 include ATM withdrawals, just withdrawing cash. They don't think of people withdrawing cash anymore, but $1.6 million. It's just an ATM withdrawals, but you talk about various women, $680,000, clothing and accessories, almost $400,000. The adult entertainment's getting a lot of attention at nearly $200,000, and then rehab, drug and alcohol rehab, just about $72,000. What about the legal argument from Hunter's team saying that, if his name was Hunter Smith, not Hunter Biden, this wouldn't be happening? What do you say to that?
Well, I say that's not exactly a legal argument. Notably, his lawyers aren't saying he didn't do it, he's innocent, these are false charges, anything like that. He's just basically saying that they are selectively prosecuting him, that they are targeting him because he is the son of a president. But notably, they're not contesting anything that was in the indictment himself or suggesting that their client is innocent, which I think is pretty significant in that this was their initial response once this thing was filed last night by the prosecutors.
What about the fact that he already has paid the back taxes? Does that matter at all in terms of lessening the charges against him? And what would you say to that?
I'd say it helps at the margins. If he still had these tax bills outstanding, the government would have an even stronger case. But look, that's not going to be a complete excuse. If you owe taxes and you don't pay them on time, obviously you should pay them late if you can, but it doesn't necessarily excuse the initial failure not to pay. So again, it's a relevant data point, but that fact is not going to save the day for Hunter Biden. All
right, connecting Hunter Biden to his father here, as Evan said, and we've talked about this in coverage of Hunter Biden throughout, that there's been nothing directly to connect the president to any of this and put the president necessarily in any legal jeopardy. But again, there's a lot of politics here. We're going to talk later in the show about how it might affect the reelection of the president. But from where you sit, is there anything that gives Republicans pushing for a Joe Biden impeachment any ammunition from any of this?
Well, the indictment doesn't mention President Biden. And so if the Republicans are looking for smoking gun evidence that links the president to his son's deeds, I don't think they're going to find a lot of it in this indictment. One interesting aspect, though, is that the prosecutors did talk about how one source of income from Hunter was this Burisma entity. And we know that there have been allegations about the president's involvement in his son's dealings with Burisma. And it was interesting that, at least as the prosecutors reported, Hunter Biden received a fairly substantial income from Burisma when his father was vice president, but then the amount of that income diminished when his father was no longer vice president. So again, Republicans can make hay of that, but they're still awaiting, I think, that smoking gun evidence that links the president to his son.
Don't have that. Don't have the smoking gun, at least not yet. But Hunter Biden, as you said, is in a decent amount of trouble potentially. Again, to go back to the jail time, though, first-time offender, nonviolent, that really factors into all this, right? Usually in a case like this, in terms of doing 17 or 20 years in jail, is unlikely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And look, prosecutors will tell you when you look at the maximum sentence that a defendant could get if convicted on all counts, you have to take that with many, many grains of salt.
Right.
Because it would be the rare case where a judge, if Hunter Biden were convicted, would sentence him at the top of that range. I think you would be looking, if there were a term of incarceration imposed, I think it would be on the very shorter end of the stage for the reasons you mentioned. First-time offender, nonviolent offense. Nonetheless, he's facing potentially serious penalties, so he has to take this seriously.
Okay. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.